debate descending into logical fallacy. Pretty much all of them that you can imagine, but mostly like these ad hominem, where you attack the person, not the idea. And so if you have two people debating and they're doing nothing but saying, no, you're an idiot, no, you're an idiot, no, you're an idiot, and everyone who agrees with you is an idiot, no, you're an idiot, same thing, then what is the synthesis of that? It's just this perpetuation of idiocy, and nothing gets accomplished. And I thought it was a very interesting way of looking at that, because it seems to me like different disciplines of science engage in the same sort of destructive arguments at times, when they could be working together and understanding how their disciplines correlate each other's sayings rather than just attacking.
I think most, if not all, never really. There's a few areas we could go into. We probably don't have much time. We're going to get into logic, reasoning, and evidence. Let's look specifically, let's isolate one area. Let's get into areas like evidence. What is evidence? Evidence is defined as, and this is I'll use primarily the Oxford, both British and English translation, because it's considered the principal and historical authority on language, preceding back to Anglo-Saxon time and onwards. There's different forms of evidence. We have theoretical, we have empirical, we have inferential, we have subjective, we have objective, and we have anecdotal. And the way they go about evidence is a sort of circular, right? Dictionary lexicographers' publication of words in the dictionary is sort of differs in a sort of circular reasoning. A theoretical basically means a collection of propositions that illustrate the principle of a subject. You hear that? Theoretical evidence. A theoretical means a collection of propositions that illustrate the principle of a subject. Then you have inferential. Inferential is based on evidence, reason, and data. And then you have observational. Observational evidence is based on, self-explanatory, based on
what you're able to see and experience and
based
touch.
On observation. But then you have all these different sorts of observational evidence. You have intersubjective observational evidence, you have intrasubjective observational evidence, and you have intersubjective observational evidence, where we could probably get into, if we have time, on another episode. Then you have personal empirical evidence, you have interpersonal empirical evidence, and you have intrapersonal empirical evidence. So you have theoretical, we have inferential, we have empirical, then we have subjective evidence based, self-explanatory, based on personal experience, and we have objective evidence, which is based on sort of impersonal evidence that exists exclusively and independent of any personal views or ideology. And then we have anecdotal. What is anecdotal, which is considered at the bottom of the chains of evidence, which could be true or false or hearsay. So you have theoretical, we have inferential, we have empirical, we have subjective, we have objective, and we have anecdotal. They all kind of differ. So what is theoretical evidence? A collection of propositions that illustrates the principles of a subject. Well, then you need to get into it, like, what is a proposition?
Right.
What is a premise? What is a syllogism? Right. No, premise and proposition is a whole different subject by itself, because when you look at lexicographers' publication of the word premise, premise by definition is a previous statement or proposition in which another is inferred. So why is a premise and a proposition used interchangeably when they are mutually exclusive definition, right? And it turns out the reason for this is because one of the inefficiency of linguistic models is lexicographers' inability to decipher the ambiguous nature of language, because a premise is ambiguous and a proposition is ambiguous.
It's a big job being a lexicographer.